How's it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to Beared Down Uncut. We have a very interesting episode today. We're going to be talking about the defensive coordinator position, obviously after Chuck Pagano retired. We're going to be talking about that and possibilities and who we like as the option of the Bears defensive coordinator in 2021. My name is Zach Rimbos. I'm the head editor and video producer here at Beared Down, and I am joined with my co-hosts today, Parth Shaw and Jaylen McClinton. Parth and Shaw, how are you guys doing? Parth and Jay. I've done that so many times now. Go for it.
Doing pretty good. Just had some food, and I guess just about to relax on a Thursday evening.
Oh, yeah, same. This is our second episode today. I don't remember listening the last time we recorded 2 episodes in the day, but 4-day weekend for me. No classes tomorrow, no classes on Monday, so I'm feeling enjoy my long weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. I don't have class on Monday, so taking the most of the weekend and that opportunity because that doesn't come often. But we've got a good one today, so let's just jump right into it. So the defensive coordinator possibilities. I got this from Brad Biggs, who is obviously a very well-known Chicago Bear reporter and a writer as well. But some possibilities for the defensive coordinator position. Defensive line coach Jay Rodgers, who is considered one of the best position coaches in the building. Outside linebackers coach Todd Monachino, who was the coordinator under Chuck Pagano for 2 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts. Safeties coach currently, which is Sean Desai, who is the only assistant Fangio tried to interview when he left and went to Denver to be head coach. Another candidate is James Bettcher, the former defensive coordinator of the Cardinals and Giants, who had a pretty good Cardinals team. They did pretty good during his tenure with the Arizona Cardinals. And he did some consulting for the Bears this season after the Giants fired him. He also has a tie-in with Todd Bowles, who Nagy is close with. Another veteran coordinator who would love the opportunity. I was talking about Parth about this earlier, and we both shut that down right away. But who would love the opportunity is Greg Williams, the Jets defensive coordinator who got fired this season. According to Brad Biggs, the defensive coordinator has a history with Ryan Pace, so that is also an option. But you'd have to think Nagy is going to have to help make the selection. He's likely looking for a 3-4 a defense coordinator who's going to implement that 3-4 base defense unless they make the switch to 4-3, which is something that Parth and I were also discussing prior to the start of the recording. But guys, there's a lot of options out there, mostly in-house, but also some outside options as well. You guys have surely done your research as well. I'm sure Bears fans are questioning it as well. But Parth, why don't you kick us off? Who do you think is the most appealing to you? And do you see the Bears making a switch to 4-3? And if they do, why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because I think you had a good explanation of it. And we'll kick it to Jaylen as well.
Yeah, I think the Bears should make the switch to 4-3. I just think it suits this Bears team more. Our personnel. Robert Quinn was someone who succeeds in the 4-3 defense. He struggles when he isn't in the 4-3 defense. We saw that last year when we ran it. This year, I guess, when we had the 3-4 defense, he couldn't get many sacks. And even his previous years, when you look at his career, whenever he had his down years, he was in a 3-4 defense when he was on a different team. But whenever he played on a 4-3 defense, his sacks were usually above 10-plus sacks. So if the Bears want to get the most out of Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack, who also played at a 4-3 defense in Oakland, so he's used to it too, I think it'd be the best option. I think it would be a little bit difficult switch for the linebackers and the safeties, but again, if Eddie Jackson and Roquan Smith are considered, a top safety and a top linebacker, they have to do their job. I think that we can make that switch. Which makes it interesting on who the Bears can go after. There's a lot of options. Personally, if they went in-house, you said that the Bears were interested in Sean Desai, the Bears safeties coach, the longest tenured member of the Bears coaching staff. There's that. And then another one that, if we're doing in-house would be Jay Rodgers, the Bears defensive line coach, someone who's widely known in the league, who has a lot of knowledge about this Bears defense, and he did really well with Vic Fangio, so I'm pretty sure that he would be another great hire. Him and Sean Desai both worked with Vic Fangio, so that's that. Plus, another one that I was thinking about was George Edwards, the former Vikings defensive coordinator. I think he was there for 2 years, 2016 and 2016 to 2018. And they had a top 5 defense that in those 2 seasons. So I mean, that's another one I would look into. I think that Vikings defense was really good. I think that Bears defense could be just like that. And then another one I really like is Matt Burke, former Dolphins defensive coordinator and Eagles defensive line coach. The Eagles D-line has always been really good throughout the last couple of years, and we all know how good the Dolphins defensive backs are and their coordinate and how good their defense has become. He was there until 2018, and in the last 2 years he's been in Philadelphia being their defensive line coach, and that D-line is really good. And I think I wouldn't mind if the Bears brought in Matt Burke as well.
Jaylen, what you got?
So going off what Parth said, I don't think we should switch to a 4-3. You know, we've always been a base 3-4 defense, and the personnel we have, you know, like we have Roquan, he's the our number 1 linebacker, and then second we have Danny Trevathan, who's our number 2. With those two, yeah, we could put Roquan at the mic, put Danny at the wheel, but who's gonna play that other one? We just don't have that type of defense right now. Plus, we have Akeem Hicks, who's he plays 3-4 DN, but he would be a nose. He would be a nose tackle alongside Bilal Nichols and Eddie Goldman. So I just feel like right now with the personnel we have, we should mainly stick to 3-4, or to 3-4. So but my main guy who I really like is Jay Rodgers. We've talked about this multiple times on the show and how well he's done with the defensive line. He's paid Bilal Nichols. He had a breakout year this season. We're replacing Eddie Goldman, so I definitely feel like we can't let him out the building, especially because we let Brandon Staley go. He's been an amazing defensive coordinator for the Rams.
Yeah, so Brandon Staley split with the Bears, and I agree. I think there's a lot of in-house options that are really good, honestly, in my opinion. I really like Jay Rodgers, but I also think Sean Desai is a really a very realistic choice here. And I also like that, Fangio, like I said before, Sean Desai was the only assistant from the Chicago Bears that when Fangio left to go head coach, he's the only guy that he tried to put a slip in to interview him for the Denver Broncos and bring him over with him is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, I think he's learned under Fangio as well. Jay Rodgers, like I said before, is considered one of the best position coaches in the building. House Hall. So, you have to consider in-house seems more realistic, especially with Matt Nagy. He always loves his guys, his personnel, unless I wouldn't say better, but unless a more appealing outside opportunity or option presents itself, I see Matt Nagy going with somebody in-house. So to me, the most realistic option to me is either Jay Rodgers or Sean Desai, and I wouldn't mind either one. And I do want to point out the last time the Bears did, I think it was the last time the Bears had a 4-3 defense. Parth was saying it was with Lovey, who implemented that along with a couple others when that team was together. But you do have to consider the personnel. I think that's a great point. But for me, like I said, finally, I'd say Sean Desai, Jay Rodgers is the most realistic. But as we go along, things may change, and we'll see what happens. Ryan Pace, in this draft, we'll see what happens with that if he's going to go. The talent we have right now, you'd have to stick and think that 3-4 would be the best personnel, even though Robert Quinn does not produce as well in a 3-4 defense. He may not even be here. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of options, a lot of pieces that go along with this, along with the in-house candidates, and they have their say as well. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options here, to be honest. One of the most concerning that I read from that article was that Greg Williams would be an opportunity as well, which if you watched what happened with the Jets, that was very, very disappointing.
Yeah, no. The Bears definitely have to go stick in-house for this hire. Losing Brandon Staley hurt the Bears a lot. He's succeeding out with the Rams right now, probably going to become a head coach this year, and he's going to build his own team. And he could potentially try to, take away Jay Rodgers or Sean Desai. So I think the Bears have to try to keep one of them. I think that's something we at least have to do at the bare minimum.
Yeah, for now, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at. But unless we see some things happen this offseason,
Yeah.
we're at the very beginning of the offseason. So there's going to be a lot of moves that are going to happen also prior to the draft. That goes for roster, perhaps in free agency in March, later March. It's going to be an interesting one. So, Parth and Jaylen, do you guys have any last words? That'll pretty much do it for us.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, me too. I'm just disappointed that we weren't able to keep Brandon Staley. I think he was our linebackers coach. Yeah, he was our outside linebackers coach back when Fangio was here, and we lost him. We lost Brandon Staley. We lost Ed Donatel, who was our secondaries coach. They all went with when he went to Denver, and it sucks to see how good of a defensive coordinator he is. Like Zach said, he might even get a coaching opportunity this offseason, but. He made Leonard Floyd into a double-digit sack leader or pass rusher, and that's something we just can't get out of him in Chicago. But other than that, I'm pretty sure we'll record some more podcasts over the next few days. But that's about it.
It's something we haven't really talked about, but it could be a refreshing thing for this Bears defense to see a new defensive coordinator. Obviously, much respect to Chuck Pagano. He battled cancer, and his coaching career was phenomenal. So no disrespect to him. It's just, it didn't work out here in Chicago. So, his defense was not recognizable to, the talent that we have on this team. Eddie Jackson, obviously Roquan Smith is just a different beast. So I think I think he did very well. But I also have to point out Danny Trevathan, I felt, did pretty well last year as well. But, maybe it's refreshing for our secondary when we have a new defensive coordinator. You'll be able to use them in different ways. If it's Sean Desai, Jay Rogers, somebody outside, like James Bettcher, who I guess he's not too outside because he did consulting with us this season, but obviously that part of that Arizona team and the Giants team in 2018 to 2019, which some people do not like because that was pretty disappointing when he got fired. That season for the Giants was not very appealing in terms of defense, and they looked pretty good last season. But that'll pretty much do it for us, guys. Just a few of our options here. Obviously, the offseason is pretty much just started, so we've got a lot of content. We're just trying to kind of push this one out, double upload today. But I think there's a lot of interesting options out there. So we'll keep you guys updated, of course. Any breaking news that happens, of course, it will be up here, and we'll keep pushing out this content to you guys. But really appreciate you guys. We're going to be looking at hopefully a 2021 that brings us as much success as we saw in 2020. It was a hell of a year for us. So we really appreciate it one more time. But stay safe, make sure to bear down, and we'll catch you guys later.